Larry's character traits were unique. He could make you laugh. He could make you feel involved. And what you saw from him, besides his dedication to his role here at JSL, was that he really cared about making improvements and being respectful of the people that we served, the people he worked with, the staff, and anyone who was involved. I remember him coming to one of his first board meetings and sat next to me, sort of like in a semi-unofficial mentoring capacity. And I was sitting there with probably one of my first smartphones. And Larry sat next to me while the meeting was going on, took my iPhone and started playing with it. And I'm like, don't mess it up, don't break it. And he was looking at all the features, but at the same time, he was listening to everything going on in the meeting and would sit and ask questions. And I learned at that point he was probably one of the greatest multitaskers that I'd ever envisioned working with. I think that he really brought the organization forward and taking us into the leading edge of what we were doing with the care for all of our residents and people participating in programs. The strategic planning that we did over many, many years were always forward-thinking and challenged us to think of where we could go. And a lot of that started with renovations of the Jewish home. Larry's energy, how do you describe that? I think that he had more energy than any other person I've ever known. I recall an evening where we had an investment club with Jane, and we would be sitting in their dining room, and Larry would come home late and sit down at his couch in the family room, kitchen area, take out papers, and just keep working. And I never saw anyone who never stopped. And so I always wondered, did Larry ever sleep? Because he just was always on. Every time I look up at his picture on the board of past presidents, I smile and I think, you're still here. And whether it's in spirit, whether it's in just sitting here and talking about him right now, I think he'd be very proud of where we are today.
My favorite memory with Bob, and I'm sorry he's not here to share it with me because he had so much enjoyment, is when he came to me and said, I want to write a book about the Jewish home. And we spent 3 years writing this book that you all know is called A Family Among Family, and we could never thank Bob enough for having the vision. Archie was head of the Golden Alliance one year. She is a role model for everybody, and especially for me, because we still have lunch, we still visit, we have birthdays that are a day apart, and she is so involved in the home. She still does for the home. They always are giving her a project and with a smile, and she has a disposition that we all should have. Bob's grandfather, was on the first board, and he was very proud of that. And Archie's uncle was the president of the home, and Bob was involved before Archie. He was the first, what they called then membership chairman, raising annual giving, which they had never done. And then he came on board, and he didn't know what to do for us first. He wrote a book on poetry, which he wanted the residents to have. And then both he and Archie started as happy hours and strawberry fests in the book. And they gave a tennis court at the summit, and they gave a pond at the summit, and probably I'm forgetting some things they did. So, and then the ultimate was a glass sculpture that's which is in our street of shops. They're so giving and so charitable, and really very fine people who giving was more important than doing. They're people who give and care and were very committed. Bob was always looking to find something else that he could do for the home, and Archie stood by him and was equally as enthusiastic. Well, certainly I have humor with Bob because he was always pushing to do something, and I always had to push back because he wanted to do more than we had. And also, he was so funny because when we had our 90th, they again stepped up to the plate and finished the book, and now he's just as waiting for the 100th. And Bob, if you're listening, we're gonna do it for you.
Thank you so much for honoring me for this award. If Bob was here, he'd really be thrilled because he loved this play, as you all know from working with him.
Maury has been involved at the Jewish Senior Life for over 30 years. He's probably been on every committee that you could possibly be on. But he doesn't just sit on a committee, he's an active member of the committee. How does Maury get somebody involved? Maury took me on a tour. Took me on a tour of the entire facility, from the 7th floor with all the equipment to the basement. But we never took the elevator. He was too impatient to wait for the elevator. Maury had to get us going. And we looked at every nook and cranny, and he knew everybody on every floor, just about. There are many traits, and I think they're Jewish traits. One is gevurah, which is strength. Maury always shows strength in what he's doing, and good judgment. And then there's respect for others, kavod. He has kavod. He listens to others. He listens to Beverly, but he listens before he acts. And another one is chesed. Maury does things out of loving kindness because he wants to see things improved. He wants to see things improved for people that are down on their luck or the infirmed. But that's Maury. Maury is a mensch, a true mensch. Maury is a leader. Maury is an expert on using Jewish guilt. Nobody can use it like he did. Just ask Chuck Mills. He'll tell you how Maury can use Jewish guilt. We have been friends with Maury and Bev for over 30 years. And Maury's gotten me involved. He's made me a better person. He's an example of what a good grandpa can be. He takes care of all the grandchildren, and they love him, and we all love him. It's been a pleasure talking about Maury. Of course, he paid me enough to do it, so I'm very happy.
Well, my early years, I devoted all my time to business and building up our company. But after marrying Beverly, my whole focus in life changed. She got me involved with Temple of B'rith Kodesh, one thing leading to another, my inability to say no, and the next thing I know, I'm totally involved in the Jewish community. When it came to Jewish Senior Life, I was asked to serve on the Golden Alliance, and of course, not being able to say no, I joined the Golden Alliance Committee. The next thing I know, I'm serving on the Jewish Home Board. Noticing that the Golden Alliance had been losing members, I put together a committee, and we brought some great people onto the committee, and we took a little time, we built up the membership to new highs. So that was really wonderful to see the Golden Alliance really very active again. After that, when I was involved with the home, and after being chairman of the board, I used to walk the halls. I would talk to residents, I would talk to staff. I asked them what their likes were, what their dislikes were. One of the things I do is I intimidate people to serve on committees, to be involved with the home. It's like Chuck Mills, who, when he was on the board, and I called him on the phone, I said, Chuck, how would you like to be the next chairman of the board? And he said, well, my wife probably doesn't want me to do that. And I said, well, let me talk to her. And I said, oh, he just has to come to a meeting once a month, that's all he has to do. And of course, the truth came out that he went to not only one meeting a month, but he went to all the committee meetings every month. And I did the same with Jerry Zakalik and many, many other people that I got involved in the Jewish home. When I looked and saw somebody hadn't been active for the past year or two, I would give them a personal call. And I would say how we've missed you and how You know, we have people who live here who need your support and the wonderful things the Golden Alliance does for the Jewish home. And I was pretty successful in getting most of the people I talked to come back and join the Golden Alliance again. My legacy at the Jewish home is just the fact that I've watched the progress we've made over the years. We've gone such a long way in serving the Jewish community. And the little bit I help to do it is just what makes me happy that we're getting better and better in serving the community.